Okay, some new features of Triggermatrix. The quick ones first. We have now in the Launchpage mute buttons to mute the tracks like you know it from the performance mode. And there's also a cool feature. This is unmute all. By pressing this, all will get automated. You also notice that there's a running LED. You may notice this, that you have this on the sequencer. These are the pages and these are the steps. We've mirrored this and rotated this on 180 degrees so it runs down here because there's free space. You also may notice that there are 8 free matrix, 8 to 16 matrix. This is because we have implemented a CC mode. There's also a looper mode. The MIDI looper has 6 scenes to launch, and when we go in the system menu, which is also new, this system menu, you press this and you go to page 3. You can change the CC mode to looper or CC, and when we press CC and update this by pressing here or here, you may notice we have 8 here and there are names now. And we go to the names now. The names are not in the system, they are in the normal menus, and it's on the last page, page 5. And when we want to rename the cell, the first, then here is a cursor, and here is the letter to change. You see there's update, and when I go to the second, so the third, or to the last, to the 8, I can rename all these things. I can also go to here, or whatever, to the last one, 8, and give it a name. Lao, for example, and so you have names for each cell. For example, to remember the names of the samples which are loaded in an MPC or whatever. Normally it's labeled to the first entry. This is the first entry, and I named all this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 by default. You have to rename it on your own, of course. So this is the new name feature. What is else new? Yeah, the system menu. We have 5 pages. The first page is very carefully to take. It changes the root folder on the SD card where all system files, all song files, all sequencer files are saved. If you change here the letter to B and you press save, and when you reboot the system, unconnect and connect the power, it will load up and make a new folder B and make new song structure for 256 songs. This will take a little while. And after doing this, you have a A and a B folder on the SD card, and you can switch through this. After switching, you have to reboot every time. There's also a delete folder. For example, if you made a B and you press save, and this is a failure, then you press delete and you can delete the whole folder and all the songs of it. But if you're on A and you press delete folder, it will delete all your songs which you have made. So take care with this, and once a while remove the SD card, plug it in your computer and make a backup of folder A. Okay, on page 2 of the system menu you can press save, and it will save all following pages: page 2, 3, 4 and 5. Page 2 is for the MIDI ports, page 3 also for MIDI ports, and page 4 for transmitting data, and page 5 is a through port and the screensaver. Okay, we go to the MIDI system page 2. There is the clock port, and you can change it with, you select the port with this cursor, and now we have selected the clock port to transmit the MIDI clock output transmit, and you can change this to USB 1, 2, 3 or 4, or DIN 1, 2, 3 or 4. USB is clear and DIN is the normal MIDI cable. This is for if the MIDI, if the Triggermatrix is MIDI clock master. If it's slave, you go to the clock in and change there the MIDI port. The same for the poly output and the poly input. Poly output is clear, so it's with trigger. Also mono is also with trigger, and trig is also with trigger. The poly in is for keyboard or melody sequencer. If we go to page 3, we can change here the CC mode, like I said before, to CC and looper, and the channel, MIDI channel, and the ports of the where you have to transmit this commands, this CCs. And on the system page 4 you can turn on or off to transmit the beat or the bank CCs. The beat CC, to remember, is the takt. For example, the first song is a 3/4 takt and the next is a 4/4 takt. If we want to synchronize external sequences with this, we can transmit this 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or whatever it is by changing the song. This is transmitted, and you can turn off this here. Also the TX bank command can be omitted with this. So, and the clock out 1 is for the internal step sequencer to transmit on the MIDI port 1 to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't matter if it's USB or MIDI DIN, because we have only 4. You can only change if it's MIDI or DIN, but we have 4, and you can turn off the transmit of this on this menu. It's only for the internal sequencer. And the next page there's also a clock port. This is only for throughs. If Triggermatrix is in slave, then you can turn on the through to the DIN outs, or to the USB outs. I normally have this turned off. The screensaver is the screen save time in seconds. Normally it's in 3 minutes. 3 minutes are 108. You can make this longer to 9999. I don't recommend this because this OLED displays lifetime is very short. You can make this longer by turn on the screensaver. Yeah, that's about system folder. And when you've done this all, set this all, don't forget to go to the Sys-Menu 1. The menu is always on the right upper side. You see a 1, 0, 2, 3, 5. And on the first page you just press save. And when we reboot this Triggermatrix, it will automatically load the settings. So normally you just don't have to do something with this. Normally it starts up with the normal menu, and if you want to change something in the system settings like MIDI port or transmit clock or whatever, then you press this again, go and change something, then go to the first page, press save, and it's done. Press this again and you can change the menu. Yeah. Are there other things? Yeah, one other thing. Here is, for example, one moment. I change the loop length of the sequencer to shorter. Play. So, short, yes, good. If I record a song, play, I can change here the trigger. Yeah, we know this. And we also can change here the note, the melody scenes. Oh. So, if you play back the song, you notice that it jumps around here, here and here. This is a transmitted CC command. It transmits on CC33, and when it's here in this position, it transmits a value of a CC value of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can trigger with this external sequencers and melody scenes, or you can trigger samples or whatever you want. The new thing about this is that we once have 6, now we have 8 scenes. So yeah, that's about the new features and my poor English. Goodbye.